city of Denver, it's got a beautiful airport. If you've ever been there, it's designed by a Finnish architect. It's a stunning piece of architecture. But a stunning piece of architecture doesn't make flying easier for Hildy. So we arrived in Denver, but Denver is right at the foot of the Rocky Mountains, and the currents that flow through there, and the landings and the takeoffs are awful. So it wasn't that great on the way down, but she knew we were going to fly back home the same route. And so one day, we're sitting with all the pastors, and Tiffany. Hildy turns to the pastors and says to them, listen, I just want to say I'm quite anxious about this. Like, I have to go home. This is my only way to get home. And so I have to get on a plane again, which is something I don't enjoy, but then to go through Denver, of all things. And so we're on the plane with a bunch of other people who also been at the conference. We land in Denver. The landing was okay. We waited a little while for our next connection, and then we had the takeoff. Well, at the takeoff, it was awful. The turbulence, you know, it's when the plane does this thing where you're wondering if the wings are going to stay on, right? And I'm not afraid of flying, and I will tell you, like, it wasn't the most comfortable for me either. The pilot comes on and says, I am so sorry. We're in this turbulence, so we're going to have to go to a higher elevation. Well, I realize when you're flying at 36,000 feet, it doesn't really matter if you're going much higher. But for Hildy, it meant that the takeoff was going to take a little longer because, of course, the plane is still in this position as opposed to leveling out. It was awful. She was distraught. I was clinging to her. I was speaking my best words of reassurance that I could, but she was just having a very difficult time. And suddenly, there's a voice. It came to us between the two seats from one of the pastors who's sitting behind us. And he leans forward and he says to Hildy, Hildy, I know this is very difficult for you, but right in this moment, can I just invite you to consider, what is Jesus saying to you right now? Yeah, Lisa, this is crazy stuff. That sounds outrageous. That sounds outrageous, right? But I'm going to tell you the truth. I feel that way every time when I'm talking with somebody who's in difficult circumstances. And I say to them, you know, Jesus is near. He has something to say to you, right? Because they could just look at me and roll their eyes and go, you're an idiot. Like, what kind of platitude is that? But the truth of the matter is it made all the difference in the world to Hildy. Because she suddenly realized Jesus is present. I'm not distant from him. He's not going to change the turbulence, or maybe he will. I'm not sure what he's going to do. But yes, he's aware of my circumstances. My anxiety is not foreign to him. So when I say to people, Jesus is present, he would like to speak with you, he has something to say to you in these circumstances, I really, truly mean it. And we experienced in that moment. And we're so grateful for Brad, who's sitting behind us, to do this, to say these words, because it meant the world to us in that moment.